So we met very little resistance. And after we got up to our objective, the Germans counterattacked. And instead of making a frontal assault with us because of the terrain, they kind of went around us. And without realizing it, they had cut us off from the rest of the unit. But they didn't know it. Now, we realized after the second day that we were cut off because we're running a little short of ammunition and food and stuff. So they sent a 25-man patrol. They were going to send them back out to get, supplies for us. And they never made it. I think only about 5 men came back from that patrol, and they said we couldn't get through. There's too many Germans. So that's when we realized now we're surrounded. So now the radio man, from what I understand, we had one radio, and he's sending little messages back to our headquarters that need food, need ammunition, need medics because of some of our wounded. And now realizing the situation we were in, one of the lieutenants, I think he was from A Company, they put him in charge of all of us there. And he says, well, here's the situation, and he kind of explained what was happening. So we pulled all our ammunition, pulled all our food and everything, and we were just dispersing it so that everybody had, a little bit of everything. So I guess they realized, well, they weren't going to break through and annihilate us. So they kind of just pulled back and just kept hitting us with mortar fire, machine gun fire, and it was like a harassment type thing, And meanwhile, we still couldn't get any supplies in, and by the 5th day, we're really hurting. All of a sudden, we hear planes come over, and it's our planes, and they started dropping supplies by air. But most of it would hit the hillside and roll down the hill. The Germans were getting as much of the supplies as we were. And while we were up there, in between all this, like I said, water was scarce. There was one source of water down below, but it was lousy water, It wasn't a spring or fresh. It was dirty water, but if you treated it, it was drinkable. But the only thing with that is the Germans were using the same old water hole. So we used to have to try to go down there during the night, because daytime you couldn't do it because the Germans could see it. And any time we tried to get to it, we'd get hit by sniper fire and stuff like that. Anyway, when they finally, I think on the 5th day, I think Dahlquist told them, look, you've got to get in and take them at all costs. We want them out. So that's when the 442nd and the 100th started making their attacks. But the way the area was, to get to us, it was narrow area. You couldn't get there with jeeps or anything. It was narrow area. It had to be all foot troops. The area was heavily mined. The Germans knew just where to hit them with mortar fire and everything. And every time they'd make a big push, they'd get pushed back. And I think for 2 days, they kept trying, and it was on the 7th day, and I think their second or their 3rd day of trying, that they finally broke through. And I forget who it was, this fellow from my company, Sakamoto, was it? I don't know. But anyway, he's the first guy to break through, and it wasn't in my area. But from what I understand, when they finally saw us and rode through, he couldn't think of a thing to say except, "Would you guys like some cigarettes?" You know. But then that's when we knew now that, oh man, we're saved. So then they started pulling us out, getting us out of there, and the 442nd stayed there until we were all out. So to them, man, I owe everything. Yeah, they were really something.